Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Chapter 3. Reminiscences of the Clowns. Zalario return. The battle had become one-sided and fierce. Gnome was originally a phantom that had been at war with the insectors as a force under Zalario's command. Although he had just gained a physical body, he did not feel any discomfort. On the contrary, his fighting ability had increased. His existence value exceeded 1 million. On top of that, in order to fill up his empty body, the magical count was currently increasing. Against Gnome, who is in great shape, was Footman, who had a higher fighting ability than Clayman. His intelligence is low, but his power was unmatched. His existence value had reached 1.3 million, and now that the restriction had been lifted, his power was incomparable to when he had fought Geld. Boom! Footman punched Gnome while shouting this. Goopa. Gnome's face caved in, and he was blown away. Ha ho ho. I'm coming for you. He chased after Gnome with no regard for him, and hit and hit and hit. He grabbed Gnome's foot, swung him around, and threw him into the air, causing Footman to also jump. He bounced back, gained momentum, and used his own body like a cannonball to plunge into Gnome's back. Gobu. He then grabbed Gnome and slammed him into the ground. Footman's entire weight was also on top of Gnome's back, adding to the momentum, crushing him into the earth. Although Footman is not very intelligent, he has a good sense of combat. If Gnome had gotten Vega's cells, he would regenerate after being torn or injured. He instinctively knew that such attacks were meaningless, so he fought by accumulating damage and depriving him of stamina. Gnome was puzzled by Footman, who was much stronger than he had imagined. How can this be? How can I, a phantom general, be inferior to this unknown person? The incarnation had greatly increased his fighting ability, and yet, he was losing to him. Gnome was baffled by this fact. What are you? Me. I'm Footman. I'm a moderate clown troupe member, Footman the Angry Hero. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Footman bowed condescendingly, and announced his name politely. This relaxed attitude struck a nerve with Gnome. And then there was Tear. I'll say my name too. I'm Tear. Tear the teardrop of the moderate clown troupe. After, Footman, you'll have to play with me. She was saying it in a cute way, but was not hiding her evil intentions. Although not as powerful as Footman, Tear was also quite strong. Her existence value was a little over 1 million, and her unique skill was a vicious trump card. It wouldn't work now. However, if Footman was defeated, then Tear would come into her own. Looking forward to that time, Tear continued to watch over Footman's battle. Once again, Footman's onslaught has begun. Punching, kicking, and slamming. Like a cat shaking a mouse, Footman is hunting down Gnome. Gnome is getting impatient. Footman and Tear laugh at him. Kagali, who was watching over them, was analyzing the situation calmly. It's the worst. There is no future for us if we continue like this. Even if we win this battle, Gnome seems to be a low-level member. We have Tear, but even that doesn't seem like it would help. Kagali glanced at Yuki. I don't think Tear can win against an opponent that Yuki-sama couldn't defeat. Besides, angels and demons cannot be physically destroyed. Unless one uses a special skill, they will come back to life, even if Gnome was killed here. As soon as he took in Vega's cells, he became physically unable to die. Moreover, there was a high probability of resurrection even after death, so the battle itself seemed pointless. After all, defeat was guaranteed. Knowing this, Kagali felt like a fool. Stop it, Footman. That's enough playing around. Are you sure, Chairman? Yes. We can't escape from here anyway. Not unless we can destroy that big gate, but that seems impossible no matter what. If Dino's words were to be believed, then this was a closed-off world, called the Heavenly Star Palace. They needed a key to get through the gate, and Kagali and the others had no way to obtain it. It was a dead end. Seeing Kagali, Gnome laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. That's right. If you understand that much, then we can make this quick. All you have to do is work as hard as you can as a tool. If you do, I'll take good care of you as a capable subordinate. Seeing that Footman had stopped moving, Gnome understood the situation. It was unexpected that he couldn't defeat Footman, but Kagali, his master, was clever. As long as he could control their master, Footman and Tear would be nothing but puppets. If so, Gnome's superiority would be preserved. Thinking this, Gnome regained his composure, but the next moment, he was frightened by the overwhelming presence of death that surrounded him. How unsightly, Gnome. It was a mistake to give you a name. Before he knew it, the great gate had opened, revealing 3 figures. One of them, a striking beauty with long jet black hair that looked as if it was studded with stars in the night sky, was Zalario, the leader of the 3 Phantom Commanders. When Zalario returned, he had hidden himself, and had watched Gnome's words and actions. He was dismayed and disappointed by the fecklessness of the situation. His companions, Pico and Gracia, walked towards Dino, away from Zalario. Yo, good work. Ah. I'm tired from work, is there a dispute? Hey, what's going on? They asked in hushed tones, but Dino just shrugged and said, you'll see. Pico and Gracia turned to Gnome, noticing that he didn't want to explain. Zalario-sama. Don't say my name, it's dirty. No way. Please wait. This is a misunderstanding. You are the one who is misunderstanding. My word is justice. Therefore, there's no misunderstanding. That's. Saying yes would be admitting his mistake. But denying it would mean to antagonize Zalario. Gnome was in an instant danger, but there was no way out of this situation. Compared to you, no, it's a bit rude to compare. Feldway's find is more useful to me than you. Zalario's words were plain and matter-of-fact, devoid of any flicker of emotion. However, Gnome sensed something ominous in his voice, and desperately spoke up. Please wait. But it was all too late. The noble Zalario hates fools. Your sin is that you misjudged your own worth. Considering the years you have served me, I will forgive you, just by erasing that personality, Zalario said cruelly. Erasing your personality? Kagali was shocked. No way. And no. Forgive me, please forgive me, Za. Zalario would not allow Gnome to call his name. Heavenly punishment, roaring thunder, Jupiter. A ray of lightning flashed from Zalario's fingertips. The divine scorpion burned Gnome. And yet, his body was left intact. However, his mind had been initialized with a catastrophic amount of information and was overwritten with a new personality. It was a bullshit power. Zalario hadn't even been serious in Ramrus's labyrinth. And Kagali, who had witnessed such power, knew that the situation was hopeless. It's impossible. He is not a fightable opponent. I thought Dino was trouble, but this guy, he's in the same class as Guy and Millen. It's a whole other level. It was a whole other dimension. So Kagali gave up all resistance. So, what happens to me? Kagali asked openly. If she was going to be punished, she would at least keep her pride intact until the end. Nothing at all. Though I'm not going to apologize for the trouble Gnome has caused you. Eh? Kagali was perplexed by the casualness of the conversation. From Zalario's point of view, he was telling the truth. It was Lieutenant Kondu who had picked Kagali up, but it had been Feldway's decision. It was Feldway's will to use the power that Michael had given him to create bodies for incarnation. This was successfully accomplished, and although there were only 9 of them, they were wonderfully prepared. The transcendent beings, Zalario and the others, needed to select the bodies to incarnate. As, with their current temporary bodies, mere humans and monsters would not be able to withstand their power and would disintegrate. This was similar to the situation where primordials competed with each other for incarnation. The fact that they could not easily manifest in the material world also made it difficult for them to carry out their invasion strategy. Kagali conveniently existed in this situation, and the idea of using undead elves as an elementary body emerged. They had to try it out, but could say that the result was good. The idea of using Vega had also been adopted as an alternative, but the result was Gnome running out of control, and Zalario judged it to be a failure, because it seemed to affect his personality. In comparison, undead elves did not have free will. The power of an undead elf had been proven by Footman, and he judged that it would be enough to withstand Zalario's possession. But I reject the idea of using this Vega guy. Gnome was a more cautious man, but I can't help but think it would have had a strange effect. Zalario muttered to no one in particular, but Kagali listened and thought about it. Then, without thinking, she opened her mouth to answer, when she didn't have to. Vega is greedy. Befitting of a position that symbolized power, he takes in every desire he can, and makes it his own. Oh, no, she thought, but it was too late. Faced with the silent pressure to continue, she proceeded to state her reasoning. Vega is pure. He obeys the strong, and eats the weak. He's a vile character, but he has his own beliefs. That's why he's strong. He doesn't take it personally when he loses, and he'll stoop to any level if he thinks he can't win. He believes that, as long as he can survive and make it to the next level, he will win. That is why Vega had never felt defeated. He believed that anyone who overlooked him was an idiot, and that he should pay them back one day, when he is able to win. That is how Kagali evaluated Vega. Although Yuki-sama is superior in terms of greed, After seeing through Vega's character, he had made good use of it. Kagali also admired Yuki's strength. I see. So you're saying that it's possible that such a greedy nature has permeated every single cell of Vega. Kagali, who had thought she hadn't explained it well enough, nodded at Zalario's accurate point. Exactly. That's why I honestly don't recommend growing and using his cells. I'll keep that in mind. Zalario said, turning his attention back to the castle. I see, that thing is definitely useless. You follow me. Eh? Despite asking, Zalario was already quickly towards the castle. Gnome, whose presence had become scarce, naturally followed Zalario. Kagali wondered for a moment what to do, but then decided that it would not be wise to disobey. You too, follow me. Yes, sir. Yes. Kagali followed Zalario, taking Footman and Tear with her. Then, as if it were natural, Yuki followed Kagali. Only Dino and 3 others were left. What are we going to do? This has nothing to do with us, so we can't do anything about it. Right. I think that's the point. Pico, don't be too accommodating to Dino. If you don't, I'll be the one who gets in trouble. Yes? Hey, come on, you're making it sound like I'm no good, aren't you? You're no good. You're a bad angel. A fallen angel. Idiot. You think you're so smart, shut up. Such was the exchange between the 3 of them in the empty room. Kagali was impressed by the grandeur of the castle as she entered. The castle that she had given to Clayman was a reminder that she had not yet achieved the level of luxury she had hoped for. The royal castle she had lived in so long ago seemed so shabby compared to this. It's wonderful. Of course it is. This castle is where Veldanava-sama resides. Not expecting a response, Kagali changed her opinion of Zalario. It seems that he is surprisingly conversant. While she was thinking about this, they arrived at their destination. It was a room with 2 large culture tanks. It had the appearance of a laboratory. There were 5 men and 5 women surrounding one of the culture tanks. Floating in the middle of them was something in the shape of a person. Upon closer inspection, it resembled Vega. Noticing Zalario's presence, everyone turned around and bowed. A man greeted them on behalf of the group. Zalario-sama, welcome back. The man's name was Dallas. Strictly speaking, phantoms had no gender, but he was a confidant who had served Zalario as a man since the original Cherubir. Zalario nodded lightly and told him the matter at hand. The plan is cancelled. Understood. Dallas didn't ask why. He believed that whatever Zalario said was right and that they should just follow him. This was the reason why the angelic ego was regarded as weak. That is why they were so easily influenced by the encroachment of Vega. I have given you a name, but it may have been meaningless. I'm sorry, sir. Am I in any way at fault here? No, you are not at fault. It's just that I expected too much. Zalario would do his best, but he did not expect every result to be perfect. He was working to accurately evaluate the confirmed results and apply them to the future. Therefore, no matter what the outcome, his emotions would not be shaken. Dallas was afraid Zalario's disappointment. So, despite his regrets, he followed Zalario's words. He ordered his subordinates, Gnome and Burn, to stop the incubator. Nice, who is the equal of Dallas, had no objections and had her subordinates, Bem and Sun, help her. Incidentally, Dallas was male and Nice was female. The others, like Gnome, were former throne angels, so they did not have a definite gender. However, as Zalario said, they had recently acquired names, and their personalities had become distinctive. This had given them their individuality, but it was still developing. It seems that one of the subordinates of the 3 Phantom Commanders, Cornu, who was the same rank as Zalario, was possessed by a native of the invaded area and lost the initiative. It is believed that this was due to a weak ego, and as a countermeasure, only the former angelic leaders were given names. However, several decades had passed since then, and Zalario believed that even then, the changes were so slight that no further growth could be expected. That was why he was looking for suitable mediums for possession. I had thought the idea of cultivating Vega's body was a good one, but the cells themselves were covered with evil. In that case, there is no choice but to use the undead elves that were created. There were 9 of them. That was enough for the current leaders. However, Feldway was planning to ask Michael to use the army of angels, Armageddon, to further increase his strength. The plan was not to summon countless angels, but to concentrate his energy to create several pillars of seraphim. That's what the undead elves are for. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.